Everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name is Soleil and I garden in a zone 5B, changed to 6A this year in mid-Michigan. And it is a beautiful sunshiny day today. We are in the 50s and it's great to be outside. Tomorrow we're going to have another lovely day, so I'm just outside getting another jump start on some of the spring tasks while I can. Today we're on the west side of the house and we're going to do some cleanup for springtime and a little bit of pruning as well. So let's take a look at what we have in front of us. So on this side of the house we have a small brick garden bed that I made out of some unused bricks that I had left over from a patio project. And I'm just going to clip back some of this bonariensis, verbena bonariensis, because it is obviously looking very scraggly this time of year, and I'm going to try to see if some of the seeds can drop on the ground. I'm hoping for some little seedlings as well. Then if we swing over here to just kind of take a look at this west side of the house, this is kind of the ugly side of the house, if you will. This is where we have our air conditioning unit and where our dryer vents are, where we hang the hose. But we have some tasks definitely to do in this area, starting down here with a Limelight hydrangea. So I planted this Limelight last year. We need to do a little pruning on that, and I have another one that's further down. We're going to take these low grow sumacs and we're going to really prune these hard. That way I hope to thicken them up a little bit and make them a little bit bushier, and they are really beautiful plants. I'm not going to do anything to this barberry, but I do want to show you that it is starting to leaf out just a little bit. I don't know if you can tell, but those little teeny tiny leaves are just starting to poke. I'm hoping they will go really slowly because they definitely need to wait probably another month. And here's another low grow sumac that we have that I'm going to be clipping back quite hard. We're going to be cleaning up the iris debris here, all of that white old foliage that needs to be cleaned up. Cutting back some of these mums that are right here in front, along with the St. John's wort hypericum and these irises. And yeah, just coming along and doing some of those typical spring cleanup chores that we need to get done. And I'll show you that this spirea that we have over here also is starting to leaf out. You can just kind of see some of the very small green leaf buds starting to push out. And this is a little bit of a microclimate in this area because it is the west side of the house up against the bricks. It does get some nice late afternoon sun and the heat does radiate off of them. Well, let's get started with some of our tasks. So today I'm just going to use my secateurs and my little handy dandy garden bucket, and we're going to clean things up and toss them in there, and I'll be taking them to the compost pile when we're done. This will be a very lovely before and after because there's definitely lots of old debris and detritus within this garden bed right now. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I even forget some of the things that I plant like towards the end of the season. So it's fun in springtime to check out and see what's coming up and remember what you planted. We also have some dianthus in here. I'm going to cut that back. That can tend to get a little bit woody over time, so it's good to make sure you clip that back. And then I'll be pulling any weeds that I see as well along in here. So this Limelight doesn't look like it needs a ton of pruning. I'm going to take off some of the small branches. I am going to clip it back pretty hard though. This one going right into the plant will come off. We have some really nice sturdy stems on this, straight from the nursery. All right, that looks pretty good. We'll grab our iris debris from over here. Now I have a lot of large root geraniums in here, or geranium macrorhizum. That's what this ground cover is, and it does a really good job of covering the ground, but it does get a little bit wilty on this side of the house because it is fairly dry and very warm in the late afternoon sun, and it does prefer part shade to shade. But it definitely is a beautiful green color right now, and I'm enjoying that. It smells great too. Just like I do with all my mums, I'm just going to bend and snap these off. They're still growing here. I've only had them here since, let's see, the fall before last. So this will be their second full year here. And I think they will continue to spread a bit, which will be nice to have a little bit more fall color in this garden bed. And they really do seem happy in this garden space. Now I did a little research on these hypericums and trying to figure out what should I actually do with them, and they say to clip them to about 12 to 18 inches off the ground. So I'm just going to do a quick trim on them. Hopefully that'll make them nice and bushy. And these will flower some cute little yellow flowers. This one's actually called Sunny Boulevard. Very aptly named. This one's by Proven Winners, and they always pick fun names for their plants. So just making sure it's kind of got a nice rounded habit and shape. And that's about all I need to do with that. We have 2 of them in here. And I've never grown this plant before. We planted these last fall, so it looks like they did successfully overwinter quite well in this area. I'm hoping to see lots of blooms. These are supposed to be fairly long blooming. This is also one of the areas where I use more hot colors because it gets the afternoon sun. I think that's kind of appropriate. In most parts of the garden, I don't have a lot of yellows or reds. But this part, that's what I was going for. I will leave a lot of the leaf litter that is on this garden bed just for organic material to break down. And I will use my shredded hardwood mulch and just mulch right over it when I get that later on this season. I usually mulch once a year. It is amazing to me how big this verbena got. And this is just from like one seedling. When the ground warms up, I probably will actually just dig this completely out of this bed. But right now I just want to get this big mess away. Now the verbena is right next to a rosemary plant, which I don't know whether it's still alive or not. We'll see if it makes it through March here. I took the cover off of it I had a little bit of a protective dome over it. But even if it's still alive down at the base, it could still regrow from there. And then also in this bed, we have a beautiful variegated sage plant that is a perennial. Wonderful herb, smells wonderful. All right. I do have a lot of lily of the valley that grows in here, so you can see we've got a lot of those dead leaves along in here for cleanup. I could leave them if I wanted to and just mulch over them. Stuff would grow through it. So I'm just going to bring you up close to this shrub so you can see how far back I'm going to cut things. And I am going to do, like I said, a fairly good prune on this. I'm not too worried about branches crossing on this shrub because this shrub actually is a very low growing shrub. It's I don't know, it's kind of wild in its form. It grows a little strange and wacky, but I'm really cutting these back quite a bit. It also can have a tendency to root along the ground. Again, this is a low grow fragrant sumac. Really excellent shrub for tough places like slopes because it can actually, spread around. Some of the branches almost seem like they're growing straight down towards the ground. But these have been in the ground for a couple years now, so I'm really hoping that The roots that they have are nice and strong and will promote some nice new growth. There's some sedum way back here in the back. I'm just gonna pull off some of that old growth there. Now back here we have a bear's breeches, and it has a really nice tall spire on it when it blooms. And I can see it is starting to come up under all of this. I would love to move it to a place where I could see it better, but it really doesn't deal well with moving, so I'm not going to actually move it. Alright, we don't have a lot to cut on this Limelight either. A few small branches. I just really want to promote these nice thick stems though, because they look great. You can see we've got some daffodils coming up in this garden bed. Well guys, that should do it for what we want to get accomplished today. So let's take a look at how much better it looks now. Ta-da! Okay, I know it's not pristine because I leave the leaf litter on top, but doesn't it look so much cleaner without all that extra debris? And you can start to see the life coming back into the garden. You can see what's green much better. And I'm so excited for this garden border this year with the addition of the Limelights to add a little bit more height and a little bit of shade up against this brick wall. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed doing this little before and after cleanup project, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye!